Imagine waking up to mirror-like waters reflecting snow-capped mountains, the only sound being the gentle lapping of waves against ancient stone walls. While millions of tourists crowd into famous lake destinations like Lake Como and Hallstatt, I've discovered Europe's most spectacular lakeside villages that have somehow managed to stay under the radar. These hidden gems offer everything you love about European lake towns: stunning architecture, crystal clear waters, and dramatic mountain backdrops. But with one crucial difference: you won't have to share them with thousands of other tourists. After exploring over 50 lake towns across Europe and living by these waters for years, I can tell you that the most magical experiences often happen in places you've never heard of. Let me show you exactly where to find these undiscovered treasures, and why 2025 is the perfect time to visit them before mass tourism changes them forever. Weissensee, Austria. Let's start in Austria, where Hallstatt's streets are packed with tourists trying to capture the perfect Instagram shot. Instead, let me take you to Weissensee, a pristine alpine lake town that looks like it was frozen in time a century ago. Nestled in Carinthia's mountains, Weissensee holds the title of Europe's highest swimming lake, but that's not what makes it special. Unlike Hallstatt's crowded viewpoints, here you can kayak across crystal clear waters without seeing another boat for hours. The lake is so clean you can drink directly from it, something unthinkable in most famous European lakes today. Traditional farmhouses dot the shoreline, their wooden balconies overflowing with red geraniums in summer, and in winter, the entire lake freezes over, creating Europe's largest natural ice skating rink. Local legend tells of a mysterious creature living in the depths of Weissensee, similar to Scotland's Loch Ness Monster. While no one has ever proven its existence, the story adds an air of mystery to early morning fog rolling across the lake. Speaking of mornings, sunrise here is particularly magical. As first light hits the surrounding peaks, their reflection creates what locals call the golden mirror. Each season brings its own charm to Weissensee. Spring sees the return of rare waterbirds to the nature reserve at the lake's western end. Summer transforms the surrounding alpine meadows into a carpet of wildflowers, with over 1,000 different species blooming. Fall paints the surrounding forests in brilliant colors, their reflection doubling the spectacular display. But winter might be the most magical. The lake freezes so thoroughly that locals create a network of ice skating trails stretching over 25 kilometers, connecting villages that are normally reached by boat. The lake's history stretches back to Roman times when it served as part of a crucial trade route through the Alps. Ancient markers still dot the hiking trails around the lake, and local museums house artifacts from 2,000 years of human history along these shores. Unlike Hallstatt's commercialized museums, here you might find yourself alone with pieces of history that would draw crowds elsewhere. Lago di Braies, Italy. Now let me take you to Italy's hidden lake gem, Lago di Braies. While the crowds flock to Como and Garda, this turquoise marvel in the Dolomites remains relatively undiscovered. The lake's crystal clear waters reflect the surrounding peaks like a mirror, creating what locals call the natural cathedral. But there's more to this lake than just its stunning beauty. It holds secrets from World War II, when the historic Hotel Lago di Braies served as the site of a dramatic prisoner liberation in 1945. During the early morning hours, before the day visitors arrive, the lake takes on an almost mystical quality. Local photographers call it the blue hour, a brief period when the water turns an otherworldly shade of turquoise. Unlike Lake Como's busy shores, here you can rent a traditional wooden boat and row across waters so clear you can see 25 meters straight to the bottom, where legend says a gate to an underground kingdom lies hidden. Spring brings an explosion of alpine wildflowers, with rare edelweiss dotting the surrounding cliffs. Summer days offer perfect conditions for hiking the Dolomites Alta Via 1 trail, which begins at the lake. Fall transforms the surrounding larch forests into a golden spectacle, their needles creating a carpet of gold both on the ground and reflected in the lake. Winter might be the most spectacular season. The lake often freezes solid, and on clear days, you can see straight through the ice to the depths below. The lake's geological history is equally fascinating. Formed by a massive landslide 10,000 years ago, the unique mineral composition of the surrounding rocks gives the water its distinctive color. Unlike the artificially maintained banks of Lake Como, Braies' shoreline remains completely natural, allowing you to witness the same views that inspired painters and poets centuries ago. Local tradition holds that the lake has healing properties, particularly during the full moon. While this might sound like a tourist tale, many locals still gather monthly for a midnight swim, continuing a tradition that predates written records of the area. The practice has never been commercialized or advertised. You'll only learn about it through conversations with residents. Ascona, Switzerland. Let's head north to Switzerland, where I'll show you Ascona, the Mediterranean pearl of the Alps. While tourists pack into Lucerne and Interlaken, this colorful lakeside town on Lake Maggiore combines Swiss precision with Italian flair in a way that feels almost magical. Imagine pastel-colored houses lining a pristine waterfront promenade, palm trees swaying in the alpine breeze, and mountains rising dramatically from crystal-clear waters. What makes Ascona truly special is its unique history as a haven for artists and intellectuals. In the early 1900s, the Monte Verita hilltop above town became home to an experimental community of artists, philosophers, and dancers. Their legacy lives on in the town's numerous galleries and cultural events, creating an atmosphere that's more bohemian than typically Swiss. Spring here brings the Camellia Festival, when over 950 varieties of these delicate flowers bloom along the lakefront. Summer evenings come alive with Jazz Ascona, where music fills the streets. But unlike Lucerne's commercialized festivals, here you might find yourself sitting next to the performers at a local cafe. Fall is marked by the Chestnut Festival, celebrating a harvest that's been important to the region for centuries. Winter offers clear, sunny days when you can see both snow-capped Alps and palm trees in a single view. The town's microclimate is remarkable. Protected by mountains on three sides, Ascona enjoys over 2,300 hours of sunshine annually, more than any other Swiss location. This unique setting allows Mediterranean plants to thrive despite the nearby alpine peaks, creating gardens that seem to defy geography. Piran, Slovenia. Now let me take you to my favorite hidden lake town in Slovenia, Piran. While Lake Bled draws the crowds, this medieval jewel on the Adriatic coast offers something completely different. Yes, it's technically by the sea, but its protected location in the Gulf of Trieste creates an atmosphere more reminiscent of a lake town. Venetian architecture lines narrow streets that wind up to the town walls, offering breathtaking views across the water. Unlike Bled's tourist-filled promenades, Piran's waterfront remains authentically local. Fishermen still sell their morning catch directly from their boats, and the town's salt pans, operating since Roman times, produce some of the world's finest sea salt. The main square, Tartini Square, named after the famous composer who was born here, feels more like an Italian piazza than a tourist attraction. But what makes Piran truly special is its connection to the ancient art of salt making. The nearby Sechovlia salt pans have been operating continuously since Roman times, using the same traditional methods. During summer, you can watch salt farmers harvest the flour of salt using wooden tools that haven't changed in centuries. Each season brings its own charm to Piran. Spring fills the narrow streets with the scent of orange blossoms and jasmine. Summer evenings feature open-air classical concerts in the square, where you might hear works by Tartini performed on his original violin. Fall brings dramatic sunsets that paint the Venetian facades in shades of gold, while winter offers clear days perfect for exploring the town's medieval walls. Sigtuna, Sweden. Finally, let me share Sweden's best-kept secret. Sigtuna, the country's oldest town, sitting peacefully on Lake Mälaren. While tourists crowd Stockholm's waterfront, this historic gem offers a perfect blend of Viking history and lakeside charm. Medieval church ruins dot the landscape, and the town's original Viking-era street layout remains intact. Unlike Stockholm's busy water tours, here you can take peaceful sailing trips on traditional wooden boats, exploring the lake's countless islands and inlets. The town's wooden houses, painted in traditional Falun red, create perfect reflections in the calm waters. Don't miss the local tradition of fika, the Swedish coffee break, in one of the historic cafes along the water. Sigtuna's history is literally written in stone. The town has Sweden's largest collection of Viking runestones, with many still standing in their original locations. These ancient monuments tell stories of local heroes, tragic love affairs, and long-forgotten battles. Unlike the roped-off artifacts in Stockholm's museums, here you can walk among these centuries-old storytellers. The changing seasons transform Sigtuna in unique ways. Spring brings the return of migrating birds to the lake, including rare white-tailed eagles. Summer nights are magical, with the midnight sun casting a perpetual golden glow across the water. Fall sees the surrounding forests burst into brilliant colors, while winter transforms the lake into a vast ice skating rink, where locals maintain centuries-old skating routes between islands. These lake towns prove that you don't need to follow the crowds to experience the magic of Europe's waterfront destinations. In fact, sometimes the most unforgettable experiences happen where the tour buses don't go. Whether you're seeking dramatic mountain reflections, authentic local culture, or just a peaceful lakeside escape, these hidden gems deliver everything you love about European lake towns, minus the mass tourism. And here's the best part. 2025 is the perfect time to visit these places. They're accessible enough to reach easily, but still undiscovered enough to feel special. So before the secret gets out, before the influencers arrive, and before the tour buses start rolling in, experience these incredible destinations for yourself. If you want to discover more hidden European gems like these, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out my last video where I'm revealing the most beautiful mountain towns in Europe that tourists haven't discovered yet. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching and happy travels.